Hello, everybody. I'm Roadblock, and we are on the free-to-play channel. I'm very, very excited because there's a lot of stuff to talk about. So, first things first, we have a mission. That is not correct. We don't have a mission. First things first, we have a challenge. Clear stage 13 of the Magic Keep on auto. We're gonna go knock that out. Great start, Kevin. All right, we don't need you anymore. We'll go Rathalos against Magic. We don't need you anymore. We'll go Geomancer against Magic, and he can buff Steel too. Both of them can. Him and Sun Wukong. This should go pretty quick. Okay, so I have 5 shards, as you saw. You may remember that I told you guys I would get a 5th shard upon complete on Saturday for my recording upon completing these 2 challenges. Well, interesting news. We got another shard today. And it's not from Clan Boss. I was able to get so now, for those of you that have been watching the series for the whole time, there was an episode where I was struggling on Nightmare Campaign to get past Hollowed Halls. Well, gear makes a difference, y'all, because I built my Ultimate Death Knight better and faster, combined him with Sun Wukong, and we made it through this completely on auto with 0 micromanaging from myself. I did this on my phone at work. That's how easy this was. I literally would press play, put it back in my pocket. Check 5 minutes later, press play, put it back in my pocket. Did the same thing on Brimstone Path all the way up to Mortu Macabre. Then I had my lunch break. On my lunch break, and this is the important part that I want to show you guys as a strategy. Now, not all of you will have Geomancer, but this was my strategy. Now, another common strategy is Paragon Cheese. We have Paragon on here, I believe. I thought we did. Yeah, we could have Paragon Cheesed it. Not worried about that. But I mean, if you're looking for a way to clear Mortu Macabre, Paragon Cheese is probably the best way to go. Okay, for me, best way to go was Geomancer, and UDK. UDK is a big part of it. This also requires RNG. You'll probably have to do it a couple of times, but I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. It's gonna take a little bit to get through these waves. So, we're gonna watch this for a little bit because I'm not the best editor and I'm not gonna fast forward this. So, but let's kind of talk about the idea here. So I use this same strategy. I used to use this same strategy against Mortu Macabre waves in the Doom Tower as well. So if you don't know what Mortu or who Mortu Macabre is, he is the boss that's at the end of stage 12. On Nightmare, and Brutal for that matter, he hits like a truck. It's important to understand why he hits like a truck. His damage is based on HP, and he has a high start of base HP. He also ignores 100% of defense with his secret ability called Peril. Whenever he procs this secret ability, he gets a chance to proc this secret ability every time he takes a hit. So when you come in and try to fight him, naturally you're going to want to kill him. And you think, well, if I kill him very quickly, then I'll live. Unfortunately, the more hits you get on him, the more likely that he would hit you with Peril. And it can be really difficult if you don't know what you're doing and you're just going in and then all of a sudden you're super tanky, like carried you through tons of content in this game. Ultimate Death Knight gets one shot by a super juiced up Mortu Macabre, right? It sucks, but it 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 will happen. It could happen here on my demonstration of this uh, pairing. Now for the waves, you do auto, but then when you get to the end, you change things up a little bit. So what we're gonna do, we're almost there. I'm gonna take this off auto. I was a little late there. I'm gonna save the heal cooldown for sure. We'll just go with some A1s here. That's probably gonna be too much. They're gonna die here. Yeah, okay. So we're not gonna have the A3 to start. We're gonna shield first. So the whole idea behind this team, and this is a really bad start because I have to A1 first. See that? Yep. Yeah, okay. All right. Well, I'm not gonna waste any more of your guys' time. Let's explain how this works. I've gone in depth about Geomancer's passive. The whole idea here is that these other two dudes are gonna and Mortu himself are gonna kill himself. There is a bit of RNG here. Obviously, we just failed that RNG. A big part of it is that you put the HP burn and the weaken on Mortu. So now anyone that does damage to me is thus going to do damage back to Mortu. What's important is that you hit not Mortu. So when I succeeded, you don't have to see it. You can believe me. I'm telling you the truth. When I did this, you only use the shield from UDK to keep everyone alive, and then you use UDK's A1 only on the side minions. It doesn't matter which one, you just want to use it on the side minions. But why is it RNG based then if you could just never attack Mortu? Well, you have to attack Mortu with this combo because unfortunately Geomancer's A1 is an AoE hit, and his A3, while I don't think it's even max cooldown on this account, is still a 3-turn cooldown, so eventually it won't overlap, and you have to use the A1. You saw when I had to use the A1 at the start of this fight, it triggered Fiery Rage. Fiery Rage has a 10% chance to unlock Peril. Peril is the ability that will ignore shield, block damage, as well as defense, meaning all defense, and they cannot be revived. Therefore, obviously this is a fail. But you'll see here, even with how fast my Geomancer is, placing that ability, I'm not hitting him. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you, right? I'm not actually hitting him. So we don't proc Peril with that ability. When I do need to hit somebody, I try to hit the other guys. Now, it's going to look worse right now because I don't have UDK, who takes extra turns, and then also these guys get more turns. But the only time that you'll see, I've had 2 AoE hits there that didn't trigger him. We just got really unlucky at the start. But if you remember Geomancer's passive, he reflects damage onto the person who has HP burn. But it doesn't have to be the HP burner that does the damage that it gets reflected to, right? So when the other 2 people attack either Ultimate Death Knight or Geomancer, the damage gets reflected onto Mortu Macabre. That damage does not proc Peril because we're not attacking him. It's like a poison tick or an HP burn tick. Okay? There is a little bit of RNG involved. It would be better if I fully booked Geomancer and had that A2 down cooldown wise, because that's a single target hit and I could use it on the 2 side heroes. But by using the shield and just Ultimate Death Knight's single target on those side guys, they lay into Ultimate Death Knight, and that damage gets reflected onto Mortu Macabre, and they kill Mortu Macabre for me. If you don't already know this, on the boss levels of these fights, you don't have to kill everything on the board. You only have to kill the boss. If the 2 AoE or the 2 side champions are alive, but the boss dies, the round's over. They just hang out there, but you won and you get your 3 stars. So Proof is right here. I got my 3 stars. I used that same team. It worked for me. And what's that get me? It gets me a sacred shard at the end of Nightmare. Uh, Getting 3 stars on everything. Geomancer and UDK got me that final star, and I got an extra sacred shard. So we've got 5. Tomorrow we will have 6. Now let's talk about the tricky part about tomorrow. I would love to pull shards during a 12% chance, or a 2x, 2x giving us 12% chance to pull shards. I would love to pull shards during the 2x. But there's a fusion coming up. I kind of think I have the power finally to go for the fusion. However, we don't know for sure. Let's first look at the fusion. Yeah, make it bigger. Okay. So this is white queen and white queen Ancora. I'm under the impression this is the fusion champion. This is also a champion that would pair with another champion. I am not going to talk about White King Narcisse, only because we're focused on the fusion portion of this, okay? So the A1 for Ancora has a 30% of chance of decreasing the cooldown of a random ally skill by 2 turns, except for herself. Let's ignore the White King portion of it, because we're going to assume we don't get him. We're free to play. Let's be real. If all cooldown on a skill is fully reset, also heals that ally by 10% of this champion's max HP. That's a very good heal, because I've talked about this before. Heals around this champion's max HP are better, because if they're placing a heal on an attack-based champion that has lower HP, it's going to heal for a lot, because you're going to put HP on this champion, right? The A2 removes all debuffs from all allies. Cleanse. We need it. And places a shield buff on them equal to 25% of this champion's max HP for 2 turns. These are great shields traditionally. This is like UDK's shield, Mithrala's shield. Anytime a shield is based on this champion's defense or max HP, and you can stack that stat, it's going to be an effective shield for the group. That's actually really cool. I don't know if I've seen that before. Look, they probably exists, but I don't know that I've seen a flat out upgrade that increases the amount of the shield, which makes it a 35% of this champion's max HP, which is a great shield. It probably does exist. I'm going to check on, you know what, let's do it right now and look at the other person we'd be pulling for. Yeah, shield plus 10%, plus 10%. Does Mithrala's and UDK's do that? So it's just cooldown for UDK. My UDK really have no books? Wow. He's doing really good for not having any books. And then I'm curious about Miss Mithrala as well. Cooldown. But they are higher percentages. But if you look at, so Night Rev, Blade Master, his shield is 30%, 50% of his max HP. And for this person, 35% of their max HP. Okay. Yeah, I don't know that I've other than those two new champions. I don't see any champions. The only other one's Valkyrie. Again, this is just curiosity. Nope, that's Jetney. You're not Valkyrie. There you are. Yeah, okay. So here, yeah, okay. So it's existed because Valkyrie's been in the game for a while. So, okay. That's there we go. Okay. So, good shield, right? And a cleanse. Cleanse and a shield. Uh great. A revive. Revives a dead ally with 50% HP and 75% turn meter. Resets the cooldown of the revived ally's skills. Godseeker Aniri ability, which a lot of people call Godseeker Aniri a legendary champion and an epic skin. Now we have another legendary that can pull that off. Do not underestimate how impactful this reset of the dead ally can be. Um, that's huge. That's really, really good to be able to reset the cooldowns of a dead ally because you could build somebody super weak and then just keep reviving them. Or sorry, not super weak, but super like damage heavy, but weak in a life, and then you revive them. And when I say keep reviving them, obviously you have to wait 3 turns when booked, but there's value there to get some cooldown. Um, can you make an unkillable team out of Godseeker and White Queen? I feel like you could, because they would just keep reviving each other and refreshing each other's I mean, it's unnecessary. You don't need it. I don't know. It's just I don't mean a clan boss unkillable. I just mean like in concept, could you just have two people that live forever by keep summoning each other back? But probably not because the only one because the self revive you would want that on it. Well, yeah, no, yeah, you would do so if Ancora dies, so you've got Ancora and Godseeker side by side. They both die at the same time, but Ancora is in the lead. So Godseeker would resurrect Ancora, and then Ancora would resurrect Godseeker. Oh, but the resurrect of Ancora, because it's the passive ability of Godseeker, that one doesn't refresh cooldowns. But it wouldn't matter because Ancora would refresh the cooldowns of Godseeker, so now Godseeker can instantly re-revive her when she dies. So they can never die. That little combo there. That's a really, really long team for uh Sand Devil, but that would theoretically work. I don't know. What do you guys think? It makes sense in my head. It would only work in that anyways. Okay. Either way, great ability. Whenever an enemy tries to place a fear, true fear, freeze, provoke, sleep, stun, any crowd control effect on the ally with the highest crit damage. Okay. Transfer those debuffs to this champion instead. Fills the turn meter of this champion by 50% if this champion misses their turn due to one of these debuffs. It's kind of interesting. I don't know the viability of that if you're not talking White King um Narcissus, because obviously it looks more powerful for him at the start of the chain remove from this champion if oh, that's cool. So if Narcissus is on the team, then she just steals it and then essentially cleanses it off every time. Um, which is cool. Oh, I forgot about wait, is the turn meter only with yeah, the turn meter is only if Narcissus is on the team. Okay. Dang. I really liked the fact that she was an ally speed lead. I really liked that for Hydra. But even I don't think I'm gonna get White King Narcissus on my account. Okay. Well, we've gone over the kit, and this video is probably pretty long, but I kind of don't care because I'm having fun recording it. What do we get here? We get cooldown resetting, which is something that early game, unless you get a really good pull, you don't see a lot of, right? I mean, we're talking who? Kaimar, Yumiko. I know there's more than that, but they're the only ones that come to mind. Oh, I guess the Sylvan Watcher, the new one. I mean, right before I click Sylvan Watchers, I'm gonna remember his name. So Emic, yeah, Emic Trunkheart. Um, they've all got cooldown reduction, right? So she's bringing that on her A1. That's huge, huge. And in reality, you're only assuming this functions the way most other revives work. You're only using this when someone dies, so she's basically just uh, reducing cooldown on an A1 over and over, and then cleansing and shielding everybody on a killable team, or on like from a clan boss perspective, which is still an area that we're progressing on. We don't have an unkillable team, so we have to go with a killable team. On a killable team, this is crazy good. This is crazy good because you can just keep refreshing those abilities that can keep people alive, or in the case of our team, giving us turn meter and taking more turns. Um, if I think about our clan boss team on this account for a second, and just kind of theory craft this a little bit. So you're refreshing Venomage's A3, potentially, right? You're refreshing the big damage hits out of Rathalos. It's kind of not that great with Geomancer because you don't really need to get cooldown reduction on his A3. He's fast enough. We haven't built fast enough to do that. He she could actually take the place of Deacon on the team because her aura is she brings a speed aura still. We don't get the turn meter, but she'd also be refreshing Ursula's abilities, which is decrease attack on the boss, and the defense and strengthen on our team, which is on a very high cooldown, right? That's the one weakness that Ursula has, is that her defense and strengthen, which is a buff that we want so badly, is on a 5-turn cooldown when booked. That's still a massive cooldown. And you know what we could do too? In fact, we'd have to do it. If we take Deacon out, we can turn on our A2 from the Venomage. We currently have that turned off, which would give us the decreased defense and decrease attack on the clan boss. And then we could turn off Ursula's A2. So this is the only ability getting the cooldown refreshed. Now it's random, so it may not always go off. But if we're putting, it's an A1 based thing, we could put if we got this fusion champion, right? We could put them in counterattack set. That's going to keep getting us A1s. We could put them in uh relentless, so they just keep taking A1 turns, and then placing a shield on everybody, which, but relentless is also reducing the cooldown of that cleanse and shield. And then we would get strengthened from Ursula, and then the cooldown would keep our big hitters hitting. So Venom Age would take a bunch of turn would keep putting those poisons out there and then activating their own poisons with their A1 when the time comes. And then the only downside would be refreshing the A3 on Geomancer, honestly. I kind of like the idea of that for Clan Boss, but even if we get away from Clan Boss, we have a cleanser that's a legit cleanse. And we have a cleanser and a reviver, a legit one that is HP based. We can build them tanky, and they're a legendary, so their base stats are going to be better than Ursula's. Not that her base stats are bad, but these would be legendary level base stats, therefore easier to keep alive. This is a really good fusion for the account. Really good fusion for the account. Now, I'm saying all of this because it kind of determines how we're going to spend our shards. If, this is a big if Ancora requires a summon rush event, we're gonna need our sacreds. I wish I knew how many sacreds were needed for the last summon rush. Now, that was an optional summon rush. We have no way of knowing if the next summon rush is optional or not. We have to assume it is not, which would mean we would probably need to pull our entire collection of shards and maybe even supplement with some mystery shards in order to complete the summon rush event. That would mean saving my 6 sacreds that I'll have tomorrow. But there's the flip side. There's a 12% chance at pulling a legendary. That's a big friggin' chance to pull a legendary. We could still pull 0. If we pulled 0 legendaries and missed out on what I believe to be a pretty good fusion, it's going to feel really, really crappy. So I have some decision making and I could use your guys' help. Please, please, please post in the comments, post in my Discord, share your thoughts with me about whether or not you think I should pull during this 2x event, or if I should save for the summon rush. There is one caveat. Even if the summon rush is skippable, it may still be worth it to do the summon rush and be able to have more flexibility regarding the dungeon divers events, which have been jacked up in costs lately. Not to mention, we don't have good Ice Golem or Spider's Den. These are weak points on the account that we would need to watch out for. So if it were, I'm honestly leaning towards summoning these shards. And that sounds crazy, but we're on a two times event. We have a 10x for a very, very good support champion. And we're in a champion chase tournament full of legendary and epic books. And with the number of shards we're pulling, we'll probably get a pretty high darn score and potentially get some good gear as well. So, I don't know. It's so tough to say. It's so, so tough. But, and there's one last factor. It's silly, but it's true. You guys love when I pull shards. So, right? So if I can pull some shards and get another video over 1,000 views, right, then that would be good for the channel as well. So there's all kinds of things involved. I don't know what to do. Please give me your feedback and let me know. I'm going to go ahead and end the video here and spare you guys. I've been talking for 30 minutes. We shared a lot of cool stuff. All we have left is the one challenge before we get this sacred shard. And who knows, Clan Boss could be kind to us again. I will say this one thing about Clan Boss you may have noticed. We had to 3-key again. Again, we were short by just 1 million. It's a little inconsistent, and I'm surprised at how inconsistent it is. If only we had a way to really increase or reduce the cooldowns of some of our champions, right? Right? So, all right, everybody. Thank you guys for watching. I'm streaming tomorrow night, Saturday night. I am streaming. I'll be recording these videos live. Come hang out. I'm streaming on YouTube right here. If you want to know when that's going live, click the bell for notifications. That'll let you know when I go live. It'll be 9 o'clock Eastern time. And if you subscribe, it'll pop it up at the top of your feed. So thank you all for your support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.